Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you are having a fantastic day. Yeah, well, yesterday we had that big news that 2 passengers on the Celebrity Millennium ended up testing positive for COVID. I got some news on that and what's happening with that, as well as Carnival Cruise announcing new sailings and even a new port that they're going to start sailing out of. And yeah, but let's get into it. If it sounds like I'm a little excited today, it's because today is vaccine day. They haven't canceled my appointment yet. Fingers crossed, which means I will have my second dose by the end of the day, and I can start looking at cruises and getting ready to travel. And I've been doing that all morning. In fact, I was looking at the Carnival Mardi Gras saying, hey, I would love to get on the Carnival Mardi Gras. And I started letting myself get carried away. You know when you've been pent up and you just want to go and do something, and then when you finally get to do it, when you finally get to do the thing you love, you tend to say, you know what, I haven't done it in a long time, maybe I'll upgrade. And so I started looking from a regular balcony cabin to a spa balcony cabin. And then went from a spa balcony cabin to a Havana cabin. And then went from a Havana to a suite cabin, and I ended up in the presidential suite, and I went, stop. You're not booking a presidential suite, Don. You're not doing it. So luckily I talked myself out of that. But speaking of the Carnival Mardi Gras, she is set now. July 31st, she will be sailing out of the state of Florida. A lot of people have been waiting for that. More sailings have just opened up, so you can now book her again where you couldn't before. And great news for the West Coast, the Carnival Panorama that a lot of people have been saying, hey, when are we going to start? Well, they're getting ready to sail on the West Coast to Cabo. And that cruise set sail on August 21st for the first sailing out of California. I know a lot of people have been excited saying, when are we going to get a chance to cruise? Now, Carnival has also said they're planning on like 8 different ships starting up over the course of the next 2 months, and they're requiring vaccines for the Mardi Gras. They're requiring vaccines for the Panorama. How they're going to do it yet, we, of course, still don't know. But, you know, a lot of signs now are aiming that way, that the cruise lines want to go in this way, especially considering what just happened on the Celebrity Millennium. And before we get into that story, let me just invite you to subscribe to the channel, maybe hit that notification button. Remember, it doesn't cost anything, and I'll keep you up to date with all the different cruise news, all the breaking stories that are happening, so you know what's happening with your cruises or future cruises that you're thinking on taking it. Join the community and keep up to date because it's changing by the second. And yesterday we had passengers test positive on the Millennium. And this is a fully vaccinated cruise, supposedly, right? 95%. The good news is most of the media hasn't gone overboard. There have been a few that have gone overboard. I've read a couple articles out there that have said, see, we told you this was going to happen. Cruise ships inevitably spread the virus. But when you look at the facts so far, that is the exact opposite of the truth. The cruise ships found them during testing, isolated the passengers, and tested their contact tracing of other passengers, and so far, nobody else has tested positive. So it hasn't spread among the passengers. In fact, both people on the cruise were in the same cabin. So chances are they had it anyway before they got on board. It doesn't seem that they spread it to anybody else. And this is also going for one of those cases of having mostly vaccinated passengers, is because the science shows that a vaccinated person is far less likely to get severely sick if they do get it. So far, the last cases in a few days, the MSC cruise ship and the Millennium cruise ship, both of them are, all the passengers were asymptomatic, not showing any signs of illness whatsoever, and just got caught during testing. And who knows, those could end up being false positives down the road also. But the science shows that also it does limit the spread. You're not shedding what they call shedding the virus off you like you would if you're unvaccinated, if you did catch that, which helps to limit the spread of any possibility of things happening. If anyone asks you again, hey, do you think the Diamond Princess situation will ever happen again? No, it's not. Because what happened in the Diamond Princess in Japan, they basically Japan kept them on the ship. And there was no new filtration systems. There was no big cleaning services. Even the crew weren't wearing masks for like the first 8 days of the discovery because they didn't know what was going on. They were still working together, living together, and they couldn't get anybody off the ships. Those situations are totally gone now. They now have port agreements. They know what to do. They know how to isolate. They have contact tracing on board. But the majority of passengers are going to be vaccinated. It will not happen again, as I say that. But yes, like I said, more good news because that's going out. Another quick update on the judge situation with the Florida lawsuit against the CDC and the federal government. The judge dismissed it yesterday after asking both sides questions after they handed in their briefs on what their side of the story is and hoping that this judge comes up with a decision. The judge, however, did open things up with a little bit of an interesting thing. He kind of scolded both sides in a way, but at the beginning, he scolded the Florida government for coming out last week and going public and saying that the mediation had broken down. We got nowhere. The other side is asking for things that are completely irresponsible and completely outrageous. And this is why the mediation is broken down. And the judge said, how did that get out there? And the lawyer said, we believe it was a misunderstanding. That's what we think it's a misunderstanding. And the judge said, well, tell you what, if another misunderstanding happens again, there'll be an investigation and contempt of court charges could be laid because the mediation is still ongoing. And the mediation only ends when I say it ends, not when you say it ends. And so the judge kind of put his foot down there and wasn't very happy with those headlines last week from the state of Florida's governor and attorney general. So he did put his foot down there, but he also had some questions for the CDC saying, how does a tiered starting system protect U.S. citizens more? How does, your status reflect what you want them to do on a cruise ship compared to what you're allowing them to do on land? Where's the coalition? And so the CDC put their state forward, and the judge dismissed it and said, I am going to have a decision on this soon, but I want to think it over to make sure I make the right decision. I'm going to take some time to think about it. But I don't think he's had about 2 weeks to already think about this when he sent them to mediation. So I don't think this is going to go on for much longer. I think early next week, we will probably hear something from that judge one way or another. And then we will hear the other side. Yeah, they're going to appeal. No matter who wins or loses, they're going to appeal. So will the decision be an end? No, but you know what? If he ends it, unless the judge sets aside his... So here's a possible example. The judge rules in favor of Florida, says the CDC can't do that, and sets aside the CSO. Then the CDC goes and says, we would like you to set aside your order until the appeal is heard, and the judge could do that, which means nothing happens. If the judge refuses to set aside his decision until the appeal, then his CSO is gone. And then you could see the federal government step in and say, no, state government, we're going to override you. And there's a whole bunch of legal stuff that can go on from that. But I found it very interesting that the judge wasn't too happy with the state of Florida's comments last week. I hope that's not a sign of things to come for the state of Florida's position, because I would just love cruising to start. And it is starting. Mardi Gras, Panorama, no big turmoil when people were tested positive on the very first ship back to sea, the very first sailing of a fully vaccinated, and people didn't freak out. There's no mass call in to cancel their cruises. There's no mass anything. People hey, you're not going to keep COVID away from everything. Like I said in my live stream with Tony yesterday, my bank is shut down till the 21st of the month because there was COVID in the bank. It's the 4th time that bank is shut down during COVID. So it can still happen anywhere. Cruise ships at least mitigate it, and they know what to do. They're not shutting down the cruise ship like here in Canada. They shut down the bank. Big difference. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Go see more tips, more tricks, more travel blogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.